One of the scariest things to go through is a big change in your life, and yet change is the only thing that is truly inevitable. I think a lot of times we talk ourselves into or out of doing the things and making the changes that we know we need to make because it's more comfortable. But not making the change is also a decision that is going to cause change in your life. For the longest time in my life, I did not want to read the signs. I did not want to do anything that was outside of my comfort zone because it was comfortable, because I knew what to expect, even if I didn't like what I was getting. But I think that is part of the healing journey, because I got to a point around the end of August of 2024. It's 2024 right now, if you're watching this in 2025 or beyond. And I was at home and I was trying to make this whole social media career work, and I kept being met with a wall, right? But I didn't want to accept the fact that the way that I was going about my life wasn't working. I did not want to admit to myself, all right? And how many of us have that issue? We may have feelings about a job or a relationship or a career path that we're on that doesn't totally feel like it's in alignment with who we truly are. But because we're so comfortable in it, because we know what to expect, we continue along that path and we continue to get results that we don't want. And it almost seems like sometimes your life has to get so bad to the point where you have a rock bottom that makes you recalibrate and really think about, okay, this really isn't working at all. And for me, that was the fact that I literally had $0 coming in, okay? And I was living at home with my parents. I'm still living at home with my parents, but I've made some changes, which I'll get to in a sec. So what did I do? I took the first job that I could get, essentially, and that was working at Free People. And yesterday was my last official day as being part of that team, and I've moved on to a different retail position in a different store, and I started today. And not only that, 3 weeks ago, I got a car, so I'm not taking public transportation anymore. I'm driving myself where I need to go. And when I initially got the car, one of the first things that I downloaded was Uber Eats, because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to use Uber Eats to supplement some of my income, because at my Free People job, the hours were just not consistent enough. I had taken on this car, but I also knew that I was going to be starting a new job where I'd be making more. So I knew I also needed a car to get there. So I was thinking ahead, but I had a moment yesterday because I was doing Uber Eats because I didn't have any work yesterday. And for the past few days now, I've been thinking like, wow, like this doesn't really feel like it's in alignment with me anymore. It was great to do Uber Eats for, 2-3 weeks, but now I think I'm over it. And it's only in me starting my new job today where it really finally sunk in like, hey, I know that you had this idea of how you wanted things to go because you got comfortable doing Uber Eats, but this hasn't been in alignment with you since maybe a week and a half ago, right? When I started to realize like, I don't really love being in this energy of going out and picking up people's food, dropping it off. And not to say that there's any shade for anybody who does it. It's literally just that it doesn't feel like it's aligned with me anymore. And I was doing it because I was comfortable with it. I was convincing myself that it was worth it, even though in all honesty, it's really not worth it that much. I mean, I got a little bit of money back from gas through this app called Upside, which, I mean, if you have a car and you drive and you want to get cash back on gas, definitely download that app. I'm going to put my link in the description. But other than that, it's kind of like you're driving around, and even though I was listening to inspirational podcasts, audiobooks as I was driving, it's still so draining in a way that it takes away from you doing things that you really need to do that are truly in alignment with where you're going. And the point that I got to today, today was a lot of information that I was inundated with because it's the first day. It's like back to school, you have to learn all these different things. And at least for the next week, 2 weeks, I'm just going to be in focused learning mode where I'm learning what I have to do in this new role. But I just had a realization today that I need to do the things that God wants me to do. And one of the major things that I've been putting off lately has been making these videos because I've been doing Uber Eats so much to the point where I haven't had the energy to even make a video. I've been thinking about it for a while, but I've literally just been like, oh, I'm tired. I don't want to do this. It makes more sense for me to just do Uber Eats because you get the dopamine hit, right, of seeing an immediate result for what you're doing versus when it comes to YouTube, when it comes to many things in life, you're not going to get that instant gratification that, oh, hey, you did this, you get that, right? And I think when it comes to my life and the changes that I'm making, I really have to embrace the fact that nothing is just gonna be instant, or maybe not nothing, but most things that are valuable, that are worthwhile, are going to take time. And are you willing to change your way of operating so that you can truly build something of worthwhile value, as opposed to doing the thing that is easy, that's going to get you a result that's quick, but where's the value in it long term? And it is definitely an adjustment for me when it comes to that. And it's so funny because maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, I put in my 2 weeks, and I think it was either last week or maybe 9 or 10 days ago, I sat down with the store manager at Free People where I was working, and I said to her, yeah, let's put my last date in for 10:30, which was when I knew I was going to be starting my new position. But then something kind of happened where I was like, oh, well, I didn't even get to finish out the month to see or to experience the fruits of the fact that I had essentially hit 20% of the store's sales. And I was like, oh, maybe there's a way for me to switch my date so that I can actually get the free clothes that would be associated with me doing that. And I was going back and forth trying to talk to the store manager, see if we could change it. And then yesterday I got the email, or it was either yesterday evening or this morning, I got the email that laid out the fact that we separated ways, right? That the parent company of Free People and I terminated our relationship, right? And I was like, oh, I guess that's it. That's my answer. So I go on a walk this morning and I'm just thinking about that. I'm like, oh man, I guess it is what it is. And I see this car go by, and on the license plate, it said, sorry for you. And I just laughed because I'm like, wow, I was thinking about that, and then the universe, God, source, whatever you want to call it, is like, oh, I feel sorry for you, but move on. Because that's the thing. Sometimes you literally just have to move on. And maybe you could have a moment where you're like, oh, that sucks. But on to bigger and better things, okay? If you're no longer in alignment with an environment, with people, with a job, with a way of being, the worst thing that you could do for yourself is to try and hold on for dear life, because it's only going to make your life worse, okay? And as someone who hung on for dear life when it came to trying to do the TikTok thing, trying to be only an influencer, right? Even though I have such bigger aspirations in that, I just think I got really caught up in the ego part of it, where I love the idea of people following me and me getting likes and all that stuff. But what is that really doing for you? Where is that leading you? And I think that's one of the major takeaways from that period of my life where I was super focused on being an influencer is that you can see an image presented online, but if you can't pay your bills, if you're not really progressing as a human because you're not being challenged in the way that you need to in order to grow, what's the point of doing it? And that was the point that I got to, which made me get the job at Free People. And then 2 months later, I'm in a new position because I am evolving quickly, because I'm putting myself out there and I'm deciding to make these changes, even though they're scary, even though I don't really know what's going to happen. And that's my thing with even this new job that I'm at, okay? It's really exciting. I really love it. I'm really, really grateful for it. However, in all honesty, I don't know where it's going to lead me. Like, I literally don't. And the fact that now I'm done with Uber Eats, I'm like, okay, well, this has to work out, right? I guess I'm into making YouTube videos again, which I've been wanting to do for a while. But like I said earlier, I literally just did not have the energy to do it because I was going for the quick dopamine hit of Uber Eats, right? So I say all that to say, the best thing you can do is embrace the change. And when you don't want to change, but it's the thing that you need to do in order for you to evolve and grow as a human, as a soul, that is what you need to do. Because what is on the other side of that is growth, okay? It's growth that you don't know much about, but you're gonna grow, okay? And there's no point in trying to keep yourself small and trying to hold on for dear life what you know, because change is inevitable. You might as well go with the flow of change as opposed to being dragged into change because you're being way too stubborn. And I've been there, being stubborn, okay? Being stubborn gets you to multiple rock bottoms. And I don't know about you, but I'm tired of being at rock bottom. So I would much rather change when I know I'm supposed to, instead of God, universe, source presenting me with a tower moment that forces me to change. But ultimately, we're all on our own journey, and sometimes you need that. But once you get to a certain level in your growth as a soul, as a human, then you have to trust your instincts and you have to let go, okay? Because why would you want to make your life harder than it needs to be when you know in your soul what you need to do? So if you like this video, like, comment, subscribe. My name is Sydney, and I'll see you in the next one.